Hello and welcome. I'm Peter and we're here to make progress, not perfection. But on that way to progress, we need to find out what the hell changed about our character and how good those changes really are. So today we're going to take a look at Bryan and the awesome new changes that he got for Season 4 and how it might impact him. This will be the first time that I go ahead and rate the moves based on how big of an impact I think it will be for the character. The rating system will be anywhere from -5 all the way to +5. If a move is rated -5, then that means it's a character defining nerf, where it will massively impact the character in a negative way. If a move is rated 0, then it was a neutral change, or a pointless nerf, or a pointless buff, almost to the point where no change really was made whatsoever. If a move is rated +5, and that means it's a character defining buff where it will heavily impact the character in a positive way. Now that you know this rating system, let's go. One, 4, 3, 3. Change the opponent's behavior when the move lands as a counter hit for the last hit. I rate this change as a +1 change to Bryan. Back in Season 3, this attack string used to act on counter hit as it did on normal hit. It used to give Bryan +7 on counter hit. Now in Season 4, if the last hit lands as a counter hit, you're guaranteed a soccer kick at the end. This slightly, and I mean slightly, ever so increases the risk to reward ratio for Bryan for using this attack. So, an ever so slight buff. But honestly, it's not that amazing. It ends with a high that can be ducked and launch punished, and because after 1, 4, 3, there are literally no other options except for the high, yeah, there's not really much of a reason for the opponent not to duck this. Oh, and did I mention that should the opponent just stand block the last hit, Bryan is left at -7, effectively giving up his turn. Yeah, the last hit of the string guaranteeing a soccer kick on counter hit is not going to change the usage of this string. You're not going to see it in any tournaments. Garbage move in Season 3, still a garbage move in Season 4. This is almost a pointless change. I was tempted to give it a rating of 0, but I'll be optimistic and give it a +1. Magic 4, increase the range of the attack. I rate this change as a +1 change to Bryan on the grounds that there was even a change at all. Season 4 Magic 4, according to the patch notes, has gained more range, but I call bullshit on this. Some players are convinced that Magic 4 for Bryan has actually gained range. Meanwhile, I don't think it did. And the reason I don't think it did is because, well, all the stuff that Bryan could not punish in Season 3, he still cannot punish in Season 4 with his 4-3 punish. For example, Yoshimitsu's back 2-2. Bryan couldn't punish this in Season 3, he still can't punish it. Negan's down forward 1-1-2. On block, Bryan still cannot punish this. And Shaheen's down back 4. Bryan still can't punish this. Also, even if they did increase the range of Magic 4, it was never really the issue. The main issue for Magic 4 was that the combo for it was fucking hard, man. Like, who the hell cared that it gained a little bit of range? Yeah, the combo was the difficult part. Because of that, I'm gonna give this change +1. 1 + 2, change the opponent's behavior when the move lands as a counter hit. Also, increase the range of the attack. I'm gonna rate this change as a +1 change to Bryan. This is one of Bryan's better homing attacks in the game because it hits mid, is safe on block, comes out relatively quickly, and also has a counter hit extension on it. Back in Season 3, this was already good attack, which also caused the opponent to be back turn on counter hit, but no longer. Now in Season 4, this attack on counter hit acts as if it does on normal hit. By itself, the change would warrant a -1 actually, but this is an ever so slight nerf. However, they also increased the range of this attack. This is a very welcome change as it impacts Bryan twofold. Firstly, having more range on this means that you can clip opponents who are sidestepping or sidewalking where you previously wouldn't be able to. And also, secondly, allows for a change to one of his combos that wasn't previously possible, which I will address in Bryan's next move. 1 + 2, 1. This is a new attack for Bryan, and I give it a rating of +3. Back in Season 3 and before, Bryan only ever had 1+2/2 as an extension out of his 1+2 homing attack, but in Season 4 now he has gained this new move, 1+2/1, which is a -1 on block mid-high string. Personally speaking, I think this is a good move to use out in the open to create some mind games between his 1+2/2 and his 1+2/1. Since most experienced players are aware that 1+2/2 is a counter hit launcher, generally speaking, they will respect 1+2, even without any extensions being used. However, on block, that is -7, which makes it really difficult sometimes to create false pressure, though that's where 1+2/1 comes in. Being at only -1 on block, it allows Bryan to maneuver much easier and less likely to lose his turn for throwing out an attack. All in all, I think this attack will actually have a good amount of use, not to the point though of being abused. And speaking about use, expect to see this move more in combos. The main combo routes that this will really affect is Bryan's soccer kick combo, his orbital combo, and his easy instant screw combos. And with regards to soccer kick, previously this was the most stable and staple combo for soccer kick. It granted you 68 points of damage, provided good wall carry, and most importantly, it was light on the execution. However, this staple combo was not the most damaging combo route, and it didn't provide the longest wall carry. This was the combo that you wanted to use, jet upper into quarter circle back 2-4. This route, if you wanted more damage and wall travel, it provided you 2 more points of damage if you wanted to go for the cross bazooka ender, and you had the flexibility of using the Mach Punch ender as well. So it provided better wall carry and was a much harder combo to staple. Oh, and in case you didn't know, these combos that I just listed don't work on big characters like Jack, Gigas, Bears, and etc. Yeah, get fucked. There was a separate combo for these guys before Season 4, and the damage and wall carry was really messed up. However, with this new move, 1+2/1, everything got a hell of a lot easier, and not only does this provide you the damage that you basically got from the hard soccer kick combo, it was much easier to do because, well, you no longer had to time a quarter circle back 2-4 after jet upper. And as a bonus, you don't need a separate low damaging combo routes for big characters. You just do this combo for every single character in the game, consistently easy mode soccer kick combo. As far as orbital combos go, previously the most stable and easy to perform combo was this combo. It was always consistent and provided good wall carry. However, I know what you guys are thinking, well, what about orbital into quarter circle forward 3-4? I hate this question, so I'm going to answer it once and for all. Stop using orbital into quarter circle forward 3-4, because if you ever clipped your opponent while they were performing an attack, you were never going to get this pickup for the combo. Theoretically, orbital into quarter circle forward 3-4 provided you the most damaging combo route, but it was not consistent in many situations. Whereas previously, if you ever clipped your opponent with orbital, you could always be in range to pick up with down back 2. So with that out of the way, this is where you can start using the new move orbital into 1+2/1 comes in. This is going to be the new staple combo for most orbitals because, well, it provided more damage than the down back 2 pickup option, and it was very consistent in picking up opponents for a juggle. Even if you clip the opponent from far away, the 1+2/1 will reach, and that's directly tied to the improvements to the range of 1+2. The last combo that really changed for Bryan was his instant screw option. The most damaging option that worked on all characters across the board is still the double knees and the dash jab combo. This is probably the best option to go for if you have the execution, though as we know, this combo can sometimes be dropped in the heat of a battle. So with this new move, 1+2/1, Bryan's able to use an easy mode instant screw option that does not sacrifice too much damage or wall carry for an easy mode option. All of these easy combos that Bryan had previously for his instant screw were all inferior to the double knees and the dash jab, but with Season 4, this is actually an acceptable combo route to go for because it only really loses about 3 points of damage. So with all these good quality of life changes, I give this move a +3 in terms of rating. This does introduce new things to Bryan, don't get me wrong, but in actuality, for combo purposes though, you're only getting an additional 2 to 3 points of damage, and that's why I can't really rate this that much higher. Forward 3, change the frame advantage upon hit from +1 to +4. This is a strong change for Bryan, so I'm gonna give it +3 points. Forward 3 was always a good attack for Bryan. It was 0 frames when blocked up close to a maximum of +2 frames if spaced out. And it was a 16 frame counter hit launcher that granted Bryan some good ass damage. So all in all, not a bad move to use, but the main problem was that it was only +1 frame on hit, which made pressuring the opponent sometimes kind of awkward. Because if the opponent threw out a dick jab, the only way for you to actually check this dick jab was to throw out your own dick jab. But no more. Now Bryan can check dick jabs with down forward 2s, and if the opponent's throwing out a high option, you can catch them with a magic 4. In certain matchups, this really allows Bryan to pressure the opponent a little bit more easily after 4-3 on hit. And as welcome as this change as this really is for Bryan, the weakness after 4-3 still exists and is still the same. Previously, if you wanted a pressure after 4-3, as a normal hit, you could throw out a jab or a down forward 2, which the opponent could sidestep and launch you if it was based on a read. Now in Season 4, with the new welcome plus frames, the same is still true. Yeah, that's right. So that's why I'm rating this change +3 to Bryan. It's a good, strong change, but not broken. The weaknesses still are there. Down forward 2-1. Change the frame advantage from +4 to +8. Oh, what? Excuse me? Hello? Alright, this is a +4 rating change for Bryan. Previously, this 13 frame attack from Bryan was somewhat lackluster. It was used primarily as a fast mid poke or as a 13 frame punish. However, as a 13 frame punish previously in Season 3, Bryan had to choose between 4-3 for damage or down forward 2-1 for frames, and neither of them were all that great. The damage that you got off of 4-3 wasn't amazing, as it wasn't a 13 frame punish, and the frames that you got off of down forward 2-1 weren't all that great either. Now in Season 4, this is no longer the case. Down forward 2-1 will always be your preferred 13 frame punish, unless it's going to kill the opponent, of course, since this is +8 on hit, and that means that you can no longer step to avoid Bryan's pressure afterwards. See, at +4 frames, you could safely sidestep and launch Bryan for attempting to check you with a mid like down forward 2 or a high. Now at +8, this is impossible. So this change does allow Bryan to properly pressure his opponent now after using down forward 2-1. And at the wall, this can kind of be a little bit scary, and this is beyond the quality of life change for Bryan, but of course it's not broken, so that's why I'm giving it a +4 rating change. Down 2-3, increase the range of the attack. Okay. I'm gonna give this move a rating of 0 for its changes. Since we were given the patch notes ahead of time, there was no way for me to actually test to see how much range we really got on this attack, so I'm gonna take Bandai Namco's word for it. For the most part, this is not going to change Bryan whatsoever, because good Bryan players are not going to be whiffing down 2 from way downtown in order to land the last hit, and this is not going to be making a huge splash of an impact on Bryan. So yeah, a buff is a buff, but giving it a 0. Who gives a shit? Down 1 +2 back can now sidestep from during sway up. What? Alright, I'm going to translate this as you can now press up to cancel the sway. This change warrants a rating of 0. Right, this is a quality of life change, I suppose, but in honestly, reality, I feel like this is a pointless change to Bryan. Bryan is going to be doing his back sway into some attack, and he's going to be doing it so fast that you can't see the sway. So the fact that you can cancel his sway with an up input seems really pointless to me. I mean, what the hell are you really going to be using this for? Nope, not a thing. I'm going to call it right now, not a thing. Still a rating of 0. Down 1 +2-2. Change the frame advantage when blocked from +2 frames to +7 frames. I'm going to be optimistic and give this change a +2 change rating. I think deep down, I personally want to see this used more, but realistically, I don't think it's really going to happen. But I'm hopeful. Down 1 +2-2 has some interesting properties. It's a high crushing launcher that is now a +7 on block attack. By just going with those two things, you would think, wow, this move is busted ass broken. However, the problem with this attack is that it's way too slow. It comes out in 45 frames. The only place I could actually see this move really being used is at the wall for pressure. But then again, if you're at the wall, the question then becomes, why not just use taunt or straight up back 4, right? Both of those options are way faster than down 1 +2-2. We'll see. Realistically, I think this is probably a +1 rating change to Bryan, but even possibly a 0 rating change to Bryan, but I'm gonna give it +2 for now. I'm hopeful and optimistic. Quarter circle back 3, hatchet kick. Change the opponent's behavior when the move landed as a counter hit. Oh boy, I rate this move a +4 change for Bryan. Previously in Season 3, all you were guaranteed was a soccer kick because the opponent fell face down, feet away. But now in Season 4, you're guaranteed a down 3+4/2 because the opponent falls face up, feet away. So now off of hatchet kick on counter hit, we get an additional 5 points of damage, and this is pretty nice. However, this is not where the changes end for this attack. Now on bears, you can get a consistent follow-up combo on counter hit, of course, and this is awesome. Nice. Now, so going back to the follow-up down 3+4/2, the Oki on it is also good. If the opponent tech rolls after the down 3+4/2, you get a guaranteed run-up taunt setup, and if the opponent stays down, you can do a run-up soccer kick. If the opponent also decides, well, you know, I'm gonna just back roll, you get a run-up soccer kick combo using the new move, of course, 1+2/1 as the follow-up. Yeah, this change is pretty good for Bryan. It gives Bryan some sick options off of hatchet kick, and I'm gonna stick to my guns on this one. Still a +4 change for Bryan. Down 3+4, change the damage from 15 to 16. This is a +1 change to Bryan. This is not significant of enough change on its own, but it does grant Bryan more damage in the grand scheme of things when you factor in that this move is used in counter hit hatchet kick. So just a nice tiny damage bump for Bryan, but that's why it's +1 change. Down 3+4/2, change the damage from 23 to 25, and also changing the opponent's behavior when hit in mid-air. This change, I'm going to give it a rating of +2. So like the previous buff we talked about to down 3+4, this damage increase to down 3+4/2 obviously buffs yet again the follow-up to counter hit hatchet kick. But not only does the damage get buffed for this move, but its behavior when it hits the opponent mid-air also changed, which means that now it grants a nice clean wall splat if it's spaced out properly. As of this recording, the main situation in which I found the use for this was for short wall carries, as in where you might land an orbital somewhat close to the wall. I think having the flexibility to do this is actually pretty cool, so +2 change. Up back 1+2, Gatling Rush, reduced the strength of the pushback and made the move easier to land. Based on this, if I did not test this out, this is a +3, because that's a lot of damage. But having tested this out, only +1 for Bryan, because in certain scenarios, when you're not at point blank range, the opponent can still slip out. And at the wall, this is still inconsistent if the opponent is ever so slightly off axis. You will not get all the hits and the opponent bloop, slips out. I don't think this is a big buff to Bryan because of the consistency issue, and I still think that back 3 canceled into down back 1+2 is the way to go for Oki, and back 3 into delayed double knees is the way to go for damage. Mock kick, change the frame advantage when blocked from -10 to -9. I'm going to rate this change as a +2 change to Bryan. This attack is already, for a lack of a better word, a cheap move for Bryan. It is a homing attack, grants good damage on hit because of the guaranteed soccer kick, has a built-in sidestep that can evade certain attacks, hits like a truck on counter hit and grants ridiculous damage, and was only -10 on block and forced your opponent into crouch, which effectively meant that 95% of the cast in the game just got a dick jab as a punish. This is cheap. Anyways, they took away the only one weakness of the move, which was that it was punishable on block with a dick jab. Initially, I thought that this change was going to be a bigger deal than it actually was, but unless your character's name is Lee, Lei, or Akuma, this wasn't that significant for you. Mock kick could be spaced out in such a way that it was not dick jab punishable, and even if you did manage to get a dick jab on Bryan, you're only dealing effectively 5 damage to him and gaining +6 frames. And that 5 damage, let's be real, you're not deterring Bryan from using another mock kick. So this change is not completely pointless, but at the same time, not game-changingly amazing either. Quarter circle back 4, increase the range of the attack. What? Did we finally get a fix for soccer kick so it hits consistently on grounded opponents? Okay, or not. Maybe not. Alright, so after fucking 3 seasons, this thing still does not hit consistently for grounded opponents. As you can see, we are piecemealing together improvements for Soccer Kick. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, in certain scenarios, Soccer Kicks will hit consistently on grounded opponents, and other times it won't. So I give this +1 rating because of the inconsistency. Maybe Season 5 we get this patched up, or you know what, let's skip to it, Tekken 8, let's get this fixed. Until that day comes, +1 change to Bryan. While standing 3-4, decrease the distance between the character and the opponent when the move landed as a counter hit. This is a +2 change to Bryan. Previously in Season 3, after the second hit of while standing 3-4 landed as a counter hit, the opponent was pushed a good amount of distance away. This resulted in Bryan getting a nice mix between 3+4 and down 3+4 as a mix. The down 3+4 could not be while standing punished because of the distance. In addition, if your timing was amazing, you could go for a dash and taunt, but this was not always guaranteed because the opponent could backdash out of it. Now in Season 4, the opponent is much closer post butt flop, which meant that Bryan now has an easier time going for a dash and taunt. However, he loses the ability to get a guaranteed down 3+4 attempt that cannot be punished. Most of the characters in the game now have a while standing 4 punish that can punish down 3+4 if it is blocked. However, that's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. All that means now is Bryan has to go for his down 4. Some characters can punish this on block, however a good number still cannot. So 3+4 and down 4 becomes the alternative safe mix option. Oh, and did I mention that Bryan can now close games out with forward 1+4? That's right. Now because of the reduced pushback, Bryan can now connect a forward 1+4 to steal rounds after the butt flop. So all in all, this is a good change that allows Bryan to have more options out of his quarter circle forward 3-4 or while standing 3-4 on counter hit. However, this is a very unique situation and it doesn't come up too often, which means +2 rating change for Bryan. Oh boy, alright, this video ran on way longer than I actually had anticipated. I hope this was at least informative for those of you who didn't know about the changes, and even if you did know about the changes, maybe there was a little bit of information here and there that helped guide you along in trying to formulate something that you could use with the new Season 4 changes. Well, that does it for me. Leave some comments down below letting me know how you enjoy Bryan for Season 4. I'll give another video at some point telling about my thoughts about the character in terms of how he has been buffed. Overall, these are really strong changes to Bryan. Whether it will break the character or not, I think we'll have to see more tournament results. Till next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and joining me on this video. Also, thank you so much, patrons, for your ever so gracious support. Without you, this would have not been possible. And if you're new here and you like what you see, consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification icon. Below in the descriptions, as always, I also have my links to my Discord, Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon page. See ya next time.